Welcome back to Toriano Knows Ball. This is your guy, Toriano Newkirk. Today I'm here with my close friend and a mentor of the channel, Jamal St. Cyr, an award-winning sports anchor for News for Jack since 2019 and one of the big media personalities here representing the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jamal, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good, man. What's going on? Appreciate you having me on, bro.
I appreciate you for being here and giving your time for the channel, man. Today we're going to be diving into the rookie mini camp. We have that starting today at 12:30, and then we're going to have it open to the public tomorrow as well as to the media. We're going to dive a little bit more into the projected starters that could be coming out of the rookie class, as well as some roster spots that are going to fill out, especially at the wide receiver position. Talk a little about Gabe Davis roster spot, Travis Hunter season predictions, Trevor Lawrence and BTJ expectations, and then what you think the vibes are going around in the locker room and the impact of the new coaching staff and front office with Baselli and Cohen and Gladstone in the front. So diving into it, we have rookie mini camp starting today at 12:30 p.m. We're gonna see more clips there. Obviously, we don't have some front eyesight in there, but looking forward to see what we have and a couple of the undrafted free agents, as well as, of course, the 9 rookies that we drafted this past NFL draft. What were your expectations coming into this for obviously today and tomorrow, and who do you think stands out?
I mean, look, rookie minicamp is it's really orientation. I
Hmm.
mean, are these guys in shape? Here's how we operate things. This is the NFL. It's not college. That's really what it is. This is a chance for them to get out on the field and kind of play a little catch up, so that
Yeah.
way, when they get out on the field for OTAs, it's not complete teaching where they're
Hmm.
not behind the 8 ball because I mean, they're trying to catch up to NFL players, guys who have
Yeah.
been at this for a little while. So that's really what this is. That's why it's almost rare for players to find themselves in trouble at rookie minicamp. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, like there are times where you get a guy that goes out there and just disappoints and then ends up cut for a different rookie that came out and showed up.
Yeah.
But for the most part, like for this class, they didn't. There's not a whole lot of invites,
Hmm.
so they've signed most of these guys, so they're probably going to be around.
Yeah.
This is honestly just our first look at them and a chance to kind of see and get eyes on some of these guys for real. So I, I don't know that I'm gonna have any massive takeaways from them. Like since I've started kind of doing this, I've kind of actually geared back from the like I've geared back from like the off-season superhero guy, because
Yeah.
they're in shorts. It's easy for some guy that stands out this time of year in shorts, and like we'll talk about it because it's fun.
Hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Every team has one of them guys that stands out in shorts during OTAs and rookie minicamp and whatnot. And he looks great, and the pads go on, and then he gets cut. Every
Yeah.
team has them.
Oh yeah. Yeah, looking at the undrafted free agents, you got a couple wide receivers in there.
Mhm.
John Copenhaver is a guy that I've heard you guys talk a lot, especially Justin. He's a big fan. I saw that he had him predicted to make the 53.
Yeah, Justin's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I think he could be.
Justin's
I kind of agree with the 4 tight ends, but I'll have my 53 man roster prediction coming soon. I love that you had BJ Green in there. By the way, I that was
Mhm.
that's a big time add for me, especially having the need at edge depth. Adding Emmanuel Ogbah was obviously a big signing for us. He's consistently giving you 5.5 sacks, so I expect for him to be an impact player. But I think BJ Green has a chance to make this roster for sure.
Yep.
A
Yeah,
couple of the
I
wide
love BJ
receivers.
Green. I mean, look, this is a really good UDFA class, and honestly, I mean, I think I had six. I had
6 of
six.
them making it.
I think so. Yeah, I kept looking at it and I was like, dang, that's six.
Yeah,
But I mean, you got to think about it with new. I mean, it's new. Everybody's new. They,
everybody's new.
they don't they don't care about these guys. They don't care where you were drafted. They don't care any of that. If they don't like you, they don't like you, and they're gonna
Yeah,
find a way to move on from you. I mean, they just cut Gabe Davis, which honestly, I was sitting there looking at my roster and I said, I don't want him on there. I don't want him on there, and I kept
yeah.
him for numbers because I don't necessarily love a ton of the UDFA receivers, but
Hmm.
I mean, all that does is open up another spot for one.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think Lassiter has a big time chance, especially him being a late ad. I like Eli Pankel out of Duke. He's a
Mhm.
big body receiver. He's standing at 6'3", 205. I think he's got a chance to be a big time possession receiver as well. You got Bray Boy coming out of Elon, Camper coming out of Boise State, coming out of that offense with Ashton Genty.
Yep.
So they've got some guys. J.J. Jones out of North Carolina. There's going to be a lot of competition for that 5 and 6 spot if they carry 6. Do you think they carry 6 coming into the season?
Uh, so here's my hard thing. I don't know how you account for Travis Hunter on this roster.
Mm-hmm.
Because he can play two positions, like how do you drop that number on him?
Yeah.
So that's my big like hold up on, numbers at corner and numbers at receiver. Like, do you just count him as an extra body there? Do you not count him at either? What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be interesting how they handle the receiver position. I do think that there's probably going to be 6 of those guys. I think there's going to be some bodies there. I think because you're going to have, let's say, Travis, BT, Parker,
Miami.
Diami. Those are the 4 we know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got 2 more. I mean, possibly if you go up to 6, which is what I think is going to probably happen. And that's why I had Lassiter, the UDFA from BYU. I think he's a big body. He was go-to guy for a really good BYU team last season. They wanted him back, but he couldn't get more eligibility.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a good add because I think he also has a good special teams makeup. And I think some of the other UDFAs and maybe even like Joshua Cephas or David White from last year have a chance at making that roster. Because at wide receiver 5 and wide receiver 6, if you're getting on the roster, more than likely you got on because they see you as a special teams guy then maybe they see you as a receiver. Like, you got to have some potential, but like can you cover a kick? Can you cover a point? And I know David White had showed that last year, and it showed some special teams potential to the last coaching staff. Can he show that again coming off the ACL injury that sidelined him all last year?
Yeah.
That's the big question, because I mean, I think he's a guy that nobody's really talking about that has a chance at maybe slide into that spot because of what he can do on special teams. I mean, he is a local guy. He went to Westside High School, so always cool to see the local guys get a chance to play for the team.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, speaking of some local guys, I saw you had Cooper Hodges making the roster as well. I think he has a big time chance. They didn't add too many UDFAs in terms of offensive linemen. The only addition that I saw was Sal Wormley coming out of Penn State. Do you think he has a chance to provide some guard depth there?
I think O-line's tough. I mean, he has a chance, obviously. Like, I kept Coop. I think Tugboat's good. I think Tugboat's really good. I think the only thing that Cooper has had go against him is injuries, bro. Can he stay healthy? I think that's the biggest question mark is, can he stay healthy? He is immensely talented. The last coaching staff loved him, and he gets up and down the field, and he gets up and down the field with a purpose. I'm in the camp that believes if he was healthy, he would have been starting at some point for that football team.
Yeah.
But he's just never stayed healthy. So the question is, how healthy is he? Since now he's had knee injuries for 2 straight years. Can he compete? Sal Wormley, obviously they've added a bunch of bodies in that O-line room, so they didn't feel the need to bring in a bunch of undrafted free agents. I think Coop's going to be fighting for it. But I think they've already brought in a bunch of guys, so it wouldn't surprise me if they just kept all the new guys, plus some of the starters, and didn't even have to go that far. But generally, for bodies purposes, I mean, Sal might end up on the practice squad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that could be a good practice squad add. Do you think if Hodges doesn't make the roster that he'll be eligible for the practice squad?
He is.
He'll be eligible.
Practice squad. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've wrapped up on what we think could make the roster. How many projected starters do you think will come out of this rookie class? And that could be current or future starters.
Projected starters? I mean, I think they're going to have a handful. I mean, Chucks, like I said, I had 6. I had two more making it at corner. 2 more undrafted free agents ending up on there at corner. Danico Slaughter, the dude from Arkansas, I think slides in, and Jabbar Muhammad. I think both of them slide in that corner.
Yeah.
Safety stuff though. But projected starters from this rookie class. All right, Travis Hunter's the no-brainer, right? I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to disagree there. I think Caleb Ranshaw is a starter for you. I think Wyatt Milam is a starter. I think all three of them are starters day one.
Day
I think
one.
those are your 3 day one starters
Yeah.
from
I
this class.
completely agree.
I think Tootin's a starter eventually. I don't know. I don't think he's a starter day one, but if you told me by like week 10 he was the starting running back going into next year, wouldn't surprise me. But I'd say Tootin eventually. Monheim eventually.
Okay.
So I'd say 5 starters from this class eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah, I think that's solid. I think if you end up getting 5 starters from a class, that's really good. Like Rayon Lane's going to play that DT role. I think he's going to end up being a lot of special team stuff. So we wouldn't traditionally call him a starter, but football coaches will say he's a
starter. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's 6 guys. I think Jack Kaiser could be a core special teams or starter guy too. So the way that they've looked at him, and then with him winning the Special Teams Player of the Year award this past season for Notre Dame, I mean, you're looking at 6 impact guys. That seven really, including Rayon. So that's a lot of starters.
Yeah,
That's a lot of high impact guys.
If you land, and most teams feel good about their draft picks this time of year.
Yeah,
that's just
so
kind
they
of
get on the grass.
It's until you get on the grass and you see it. Can these guys play? Like I think everybody's kind of soured on like Chad Muma at this point on his potential. But when he was drafted and coming out, people loved Chad. Chad was like a steal. It was like, oh, they double dipped. This is going to make sense, and they got 2 really good players. And it just really hasn't worked out like that. Is Kaiser going to have an opportunity to be a starter? 100%. Because think about it. Devin Lloyd, last year of his deal, they decided not to pick up that 5th-year option. Chad Boom on the last year of his deal, and I think he's going to have to earn a spot this year. Period. If Moom is going to be on the roster, so you're going to move out those guys. So next year, if it stays pat, you're going to have Kaiser competing with Ventrell Miller to play next to Foye Oluokun. So he's got 1 guy, and Ventrell hasn't exactly started a bunch of football games or earned a spot. So I mean, there's no guarantee that Ventrell's on this year's roster. So Kaiser has a chance to be a starter and to start it quick by as early as next season.
Agreed. Yeah, I had actually written an article about that following the declining of Lloyd's contract option. So I think Kaiser has a chance. Also, the possibility of Foye Oluokun having it out next year in his contract. Right. So we could see a turnover in the entire linebacker room as soon as next season. So I think it's a sign. I thought that they would take a linebacker this draft, and for them to take one as early as they did in the 4th round, it kind of made me say, hey, they're looking at the roster construction and saying we might make a swift turnaround in that room. I think they could go as early as say they trade up to round 2, or trade back into day 1, next year's draft. They could take a linebacker pretty high. Do you think so?
Look, I think that's, if we're looking at it right now on paper, way too early. I think, that could end up being a need. It's just going to depend on how they see this thing. Do they see enough from Kaiser where they feel comfortable with him going in and competing for a job? I don't think they're going to be in a position where they're comfortable to move on from Foye. I just don't, unless something happens this season or they just sour on him really quickly. Because if you move on from him and you move on from Devin and you move on from Muma, then you're looking at just Kaiser and Ventrell and a rookie.
And a Bear Cup.
Yeah. So I think Foye is going to be back. I think he's been a big part of what they've done defensively for so long. And I know they tried to change what he was doing last season on the defense to try and put someone else in a better position because regardless – I think he's going to be back in a more natural position. I think he's going to play. We'll see a better version of Foye, especially if he can stay healthy this year out there on the football field. and I'd expect that he's going to be racking up tackles again. So I don't see them being in a position where they're going to be able to move on from him unless a linebacker appears out of thin air on the market after training camp cuts or something, that all of a sudden, okay, well, now we got another body in this room that can help with that transition.
Okay. So with that being said, we've talked a little bit about possible turnover in the linebacker room. We're going to see a lot of turnover in the wide receiver room. We touched on it a little bit earlier. Who do you think is the favorite right now to take that wide receiver 5 spot that Gabe Davis has left empty?
The favorite? I don't know if you got a favorite. I mean, it's wide open. You got 4 guys. And then after that, it's like, I mean, you're staring out into a void, man.
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, it's anybody's game, dude. To be honest, like if I told you there's a favorite right now, I mean, it would be one of the undrafted free agents. Because there's literally only 2 other guys on the roster. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, we've got a bunch of guys coming back that we're underselling or something. There's nobody. I mean, Joshua Cephas was a practice squad guy last year. David White, the other one, was on injured reserve all last year, and it was literally only like both of them were UDFAs the year before. There aren't any draft picks we're overthinking that we're trying to like forget about. There's nothing like that. So it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a fight.
A dog fight.
Yeah. If there's a guy that I think we didn't mention earlier that I think has a real chance at it, I mean, Cam Camper. Have you looked him up at all?
Yeah, I've looked into him a little bit as far as what he's done at Boise State. He was a very productive player, obviously playing NCAA college football, 25. You kind of got a feel playing with Boise State what Camper can do on the field.
Sure.
But I haven't seen enough film on him to really evaluate him as a prospect. But I did like what I saw from the clips that I saw.
Camper's going to bring enough. Camper, I could see being a guy who, you know, one of the things that whenever we used to talk about Tim Jones, we used to talk about special teams value, but Tim Jones was a hell of a run blocker. Hell of a run blocker. Camper coming from that Boise State run heavy offense with Ashton Jenkins, the boy know how to go and run block. And when you start, I'm telling you, when you start getting down to wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6, it's skill sets like that are going to ingratiate you to the coaching staff. Like, man, we could put him in here on a running down. He going to clear it out. Man, he go out there and cover a kick. It's not always the best like receiver. Like, I mean, think about like a guy like Elijah Cooks.
Yeah.
It was always a stretch to keep Elijah on the roster or keep him around because he was talented as a receiver and a developmental prospect, but he really wasn't a great run blocker, especially at his size. He wasn't a great special teams guy, like, so he couldn't earn a spot there. So it was like, well, what do we do with this guy? We're just keeping him here because we think we can develop him. But like, how does he help the 53?
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, unless there's massive injuries and we think he can really step up, how does he help the 53? So I think a guy like Camper, who's going to have a skill set already built in. I mean, it's those sorts of skill sets that you start looking for 5 and 6. Not like, yeah, he has to be able to catch a pass. And being a receiver is going to be important. But unless one of them dudes comes out there and has like, you know, crazy potential and is out there killing everybody, when you start getting to 5 and 6, can you play special teams? Can you block? It's going to be the 2 things that are probably your most important skill sets for those guys. I mean, you have stone hands, but you got to be able to do something.
Yeah. I know we both have planted our flags in on Lassiter out of BYU. Do you think he can really bring something to the table as far as special teams and blocking?
Yeah. I think he's got a good build for playing special teams. His brother has kind of gone this route before, playing big-time college football, trying to make it up. So I think he's going to have some perspective for this thing. BYU really wanted him back. He was trying to get the JUCO eligibility. He couldn't get it back. He ran a slow 40. Biggest red flag. Not really a speed guy. But if you go and look at what he was able to do at BYU, he was a good blocker, physical wide receiver, and he was kind of their go-to guy in big situations. I think I was watching one game. I think it was against UCF. 4th and 2 early in the game, and they tossed him just a little bubble screen. 2 DBs had him dead to rights. fought through it, jumps across, gets the first down, and kind of sparked BYU the rest of the way to kind of get rolling. He was their guy. And I love that. I think he has a good build to play special teams. I think he can bring the block. And I think he's a guy that when I look at the way what happened, so think about this. They signed their initial 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lassiter and is it Stinger? Stinger were the two that came in late that they added straight to the roster that they signed. So those guys had gotten invites to go somewhere else. And for one reason or another, the Jaguars decided that we want these guys on the roster. Like we want them in our camp, and they've already accepted invites somewhere else. We don't think they'll make it here. We gotta sign them.
Mm-hmm.
So they doubled back for a reason. So I think those guys have a shot for real. Dorian Stinger, wide receiver from Utah. There's something they saw. Yeah, they wanted to double back and go add 2 more wide receivers after they had already done this full 20-person undrafted free agent class that had 4 receivers in it. They doubled back and added 2 more. Yeah, I think Lassiter of the 2 stood out to me. Dorian Stinger, I think is fine, but there was something there that they doubled back and said, "Nah, we need 2 more bodies." And these are the 2 we got to get. And they turned down rookie minicamp invites elsewhere to come to Jacksonville. So I'm keying on Lassiter as one of my guys. I think Gabe Davis moving on opens the door for a second. I know a lot of people love Eli Pankel, so he's maybe going to be that undrafted, favorite receiver. There's always that guy. I mean, Kevin Austin Jr. was that guy for people a couple years back. But like. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to, spotlight a couple of the other guys and give them a shout. Like, I think Camper has a chance. Chandler Brayboy, he's the small school guy. If you want to go, like, if they went digging Elon, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, it's going to get really interesting, especially with the running back room, whether they carry 4 tight ends, adding to the
D-line. Easy, man.
Think the running back room's too easy?
I think it's easy. I think that's easy. There's 5 guys on the roster, and you're gonna keep 4, right?
Most likely, yeah. I think
most likely. Trade somebody, you keep it 4.
Yeah. Unless you want to go add a fullback, I don't know what.
If they were gonna add a fullback, I feel like they'd have done that at this point.
Think they would have done it?
Well, at this point, the roster's at 90, pretty much at 90 guys. Like, I feel like if they were going to go and try and seek out a fullback because they wanted it, I feel like we just seen a smoke signal at this point of like a guy, at least a body type, entering the building, but they haven't. So I'd be surprised if they went and did that. I think the running back room is pretty straightforward, for real. I think quarterback's pretty easy. I think running back's pretty easy. I think tight ends are easy, but I mean, it sounds like you're on the 4 tight end train.
I like having 4 tight ends. Just having, of course, having the bodies. You think Copenhagen will really, really make the practice squad more so?
I mean, I think it's possible. I mean, I think you can tell. So this group, I think they tell you a lot by telling you nothing. Or like they do what they tell you they're going to do, but like look at the numbers for what they brought in the undrafted free agent class, right? They brought in a bunch of receivers, brought in a bunch of defensive linemen. They brought in 2 tight ends, 1 offensive lineman. They brought in a handful of DBs. I think the DBs, that's where they're focusing because they think they got numbers by bringing in the glut of guys there because they want to instill that competition. So I think they got shots at wide receiver, you got shots at DB, and you got shots at D-line. I think tight end, personally, is practice squad at best for Herbert or Copenhagen. I just don't think they're going to keep more than 3. I don't.
It's realistic. I think, and of course they added a linebacker in there, got a safety in there, and Shark, Cameron Silman Craig from Colorado.
Practice squad.
Yeah, I think I like him for the practice squad as well.
I think a lot of people like him. I'm actually going to talk to him on Saturday. But I just don't – I think the safeties numbers game is going to kick your butt. Because I mean, think about it, you brought in Ranshaw and you brought in Eric Murray, so you got to get rid of two. Actually, you brought in Ranshaw, Lane, and Eric Murray. You brought in three, so people got to go. And I can say I've said it from the second they drafted Lane. Lane is a clone of Daniel Thomas, so he's your DT replacement. Love DT, but it sounds like that's the end for him. Okay, so now Murray and Ransaw have to earn roster spots, so you got to get rid of somebody. And I think the guys that are fighting for it is right now, they just got rid of Gabe Davis, so I don't want to say plant my flag that they're not going to get rid of Savage. But right now, he's on the roster, and there's considerable dead cash if they got rid of Savage. So I can see them keeping him in the room. The guys that are going to be fighting are Antonio Johnson, who was also a starter for most of last season, even if he did disappoint for some of it. But you feel like a new coaching staff might see that potential and say, "Man, we can get him on. We can get him right." Dewey. Yeah. I mean, these are guys that, I mean, legitimately, there's going to be tough cuts at safety. If an undrafted guy got in there, he is going to have to show out for him to get on that roster and say, because safety's pretty, I mean, so you got the two new guys, you're going to have we're penciling in actually you got the three new guys and we're penciling in Savage. So we're at four. Just immediately. And then he'd have to beat out either Antonio or Dewey if they were going to keep the fifth one.
Do you think you think they'll go 5 or 6 at safety? I've seen some people predict 6. I've seen some people say 5.
I think 5.
I think 5 is good.
And when I did it, I went heavy at corner. I went 5. So here's what I think the catalyst will be. I think the catalyst is going to be Ransaw. Because I think he's the difference between are they going to play a lot of 3 safety looks or not. Okay. So when they drafted Caleb, keep in mind at Tulane he played corner. He played slot and he played some outside early on, but last season he was mostly a slot.
Played a lot of nickel, yeah.
So they're moving him to safety. When they drafted him afterwards, they said, "Man, we see this dude as an all-around DB. We can move him around, play him all over the place." Okay. So far, when they've said something, they follow through. They meant it. Yeah. So do they mean that? Do they mean that they're going to use him as like this chess piece as a rookie and move him around the defense, or are they going to start him off at just safety and say, "Get comfortable here"? He's the catalyst to me, because if you say, "All right, Caleb, we're going to use you in this whatever role, this flexible role where we'll move you around, and sometimes you'll be in the slot, sometimes you'll be at safety, but a chess piece." Let's just say, because I mean, essentially that's kind of what they want, what the last staff's vision for Darnell Savage kind of was. Yeah. And then they pivoted when it didn't come together. So yeah, if they say they're going to do that as a rookie with him, then you keep an extra safety. So then that shifts the numbers. If he's just going to play, if they're just going to play him as straight safeties, too high, move on with life, I don't think you're going to keep 6. I think you could probably get away with 4 or 5. Probably 5 for special teams value. Okay. I went heavier at corner because there's so many questions at corner. That's what I did. Yeah.
I mean, with you mentioning corners, we can segue to the Travis Hunter discussions, talking about the season predictions for him. What was your trade reaction? I know for me, I went a little bit more heavier on corner with what my way too early predictions would be, because I have him playing. I know they said they want to play him more so at receiver, have him moonlight as a DB, have him get practice reps, learn the playbook, but more so start as a receiver. What do you think the season predictions will be as far as, usage or stats? What do you see a rookie season for Travis Hunter looking like?
I think everybody's diving too far in to where they said that he's starting at a receiver. That's what I think. I think we're all hanging on a whim that they said, "Oh, well, he's going to start at receiver." Well, they mean in practice. They mean, right, like rookie minicamp, they want him to learn the offensive playbook. Yeah. I think he's going to play both sides. Again, James Gladstone, when he speaks, they've meant it so far. Everybody's been locking step. He sat there and he said, yeah, I was good spending 2 first-round picks on Travis because he was worth the first-round pick at corner and a first-round pick at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Why would you say that and then not play him at corner?
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, if he's not going to play corner, then he ain't worth the first-round pick at corner.
Yeah.
I think he's going to play both ways. I really do. All jokes aside, I think he's going to – I don't think it's going to be like 100-100.
Yeah. No.
But I do think it's going to be heavy both sides. It wouldn't shock me if you looked up at some point in the season and let's just say perfect world, he stays completely healthy. If he played 80% of the snaps on offense and 70 on defense, wouldn't shock me.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't shock me. I think they paid the cost to go get the guy. I think that is like, have you ever heard people call them the same old Jags when stuff goes wrong?
Yeah, or the cardiac cats.
Cardiac cats, but they always go to this same old Jags. Somebody in this front office said at some point, y'all not used to this kind of stuff around here, are you? They are completely different. And operating completely different than anything else. Like, free agency is going to be massively different under this group than any other front office that a Jaguars fan has seen. They have zero intention of going out there and just spending a bunch of money in free agency.
Yeah.
So in order there's another side of that coin. If you're not going to go get your stars in free agency, Trent and Doug said they wanted to build through the draft, but them boys show was totaling it out, going look for starters in free agency. So if you're not going to do it here, you got to do it somewhere else, which means you got to say, man, I got to go get the best of the best. And if they think Travis Hunter is a superstar, which everybody believed leading up to the draft, and they said, hey, picked up the phone and Buddy said, yeah, I got a deal for you, and they took it, you go get a star. Because, at the end of the day, the league is about star power. Yeah. Like, it's the best of the best. When we talked about this Jaguars roster for years, it's come down to, like, how many blue chip players do they have, and they don't have enough. So if you say you can get a guy that's going to give you a blue chip on both sides of the ball,
go get him.
Yeah. Go get him. Especially, like, if you didn't believe Mason was a blue chipper, if you thought he was just good, you go get the guy that's going to give you 2. If somebody else is willing to give them up. So, look, I love the trade. I think he's going to play on both sides, dude. I really do. I think he's going to play a lot. If he doesn't, like, start both sides of the ball, that wouldn't shock me. But I think when we start looking at snap counts more, I think it'll be there.
Okay. I appreciate the Travis Hunter debacle. I think diving into what this offense will look like will really ride on him and Trevor Lawrence and BTJ. They are going to be the fulcrum of this offense. Obviously, a Travis Etienne we need a bounce back season from. Hopefully, him and Bigsby will be able to really control the rock and avoid the fumble issues that they've had the past 2 seasons. But I think it'll really ride on those 3. With that being said, what do you expect from Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. this upcoming season? Do you expect Pro Bowl, All-Pro? Do you think Trevor Lawrence can make an MVP jump with 2 top-tier wide receiver prospects?
Let's start with BT. I think obviously for the standard for BT is to expect Pro Bowl. I think that's where he was at last year. I think that should be the expectation. I think we should expect him probably to have some growth now that you have a full season and a little bit of a different offense as being the guy. And he has a tag team partner that's going to take some of the slack off of him. So I would expect a jump from BT. I think Pro Bowl is definitely an expectation. All Pro is possible. I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, those All Pro numbers, at receiver,
slim pickings.
Yeah. You're talking about the guys of the guys. So that'll be tough. But I think Pro Bowl, yes, I think that's very doable. as far as like Trevor goes,
Mm-hmm.
whew, it's a big year for him, ain't it?
It's a
Feel
big
like
year.
this feel
It's
like,
the
man,
year.
this is the year. This
Yeah.
is like all the marbles for T-Law, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we just paid you. But like, bro, you've been hurt, kind of wishy-washy.
We need you
You
to
got two
show us something.
bad. They didn't retooled this offense around you. But you show up and show out, my boy.
Yeah.
Look, I think we're gonna look up at the end of next season, and there's three places that the Jaguars can be. Two of them are good. One of them is bad. But they need to get just enough out of Trevor to show like confidence. So like they either look up and they had a great season and everybody's like, "Oh, that's the Trevor that we expected to see coming out of Clemson." The Jaguars have their guy. He's a bona fide starter stud. He moved into the top 12 starters in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You move into, I mean, option twos, maybe it's more like his first season with Doug where struggles early on, but you see the sparks of life late in the year. And that gives you go into the offseason saying, look, year two in the system, we're going to feel pretty good about Trevor at this point because like you saw the life as he got more comfortable in the offense.
Yeah.
So that's option two. Option three is he stank.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the struggles that we've seen, and maybe he doesn't adjust. And at that point, then we got to have a real tough
Conversation.
Tough conversation. I don't think we're going to get to option three. I think I think he's going to have a good year. I think Trevor has been put in bad situations since he's been in the league. I mean, from Urban Meyer to, I mean, even Doug helped, but he wasn't maybe the perfect guy. You know, he was a nice bridge gap, but like I think Liam's a better situation. I think they've already improved the offensive line in one offseason more than Doug and Trent ever did. Yes. I think they've given him now his two best weapons he's ever had. Like if we go back and start looking at the wide receiver groups and the weapons this dude's been thrown to, like nobody's gonna say, "Wow, he was working with all that and couldn't do anything." Nobody's saying that. Like no. Christian Kirk at best is Christian Kirk. Evan Ingram, love the dude, but like he was just Evan. He wasn't surrounded by weapons. Like we've seen other teams go and get guys to surround their guy, and like the Jaguars never were really able to do that. Mm-hmm. Like I always think about that rookie year picture. It was him, LaVisca, Marvin Jones, and
was it Treadwell and Tavon Austin?
Nah, they wasn't in the picture. But when they went out, was it DJ Chark? No, it wasn't DJ Chark. I don't know. Whatever.
It was Chark. Rookie year.
Chark his rookie year?
Yeah, Chark was here rookie year, and then after that he left.
So like that he just hasn't been surrounded by a good group of people to throw the football to. And that's the issue. They have not put weapons around him. So it's real tough. Like when like that rookie year, nobody was getting open. I mean, even going back to like some of these other years, like he's throwing into the windows and you can go, they're cut ups of like the ball hitting guys in the hands and it just getting dropped. Like it's tough to blame Trevor for that. Yeah. I think that this offense is going to be more quarterback friendly. Hell, Trevor even said that. Trevor said that like this offense compared to the other offense, said this when OTAs started. He said that, you know, his previous offenses, the route combinations would all mature at the same time. So basically you needed to get from like one route to the other route at the same time. So if you made the wrong decision before the route was ready, you had nowhere to really go. Yeah. The way Liam's offense is structured, he said there's like built-in timing for the reads. So this route's first. All right, it's not there. This one's coming next. Like, so everything's on time. So he goes from read to read to read. And just because the first one isn't there doesn't mean the third one won't be there because they're all timed up. Yeah, they're on this timing where as long as he's on time and has time to read it, one of them should be there.
Yeah.
That's how
the
offense.
Foundation.
Yes. So there's a foundation in place. There's something where you're not asking Trevor to make to play calculus at the line of scrimmage, which I think Doug's offense at time was. It was asking him to play chess at the line, to be that Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, essentially make all the decisions he needed before the snap. And that's okay in a sense, but at times that's clearly given Trevor some problems. And that's where some of those reads where, there was a pass that would go somewhere and maybe it was never supposed to be there because of whatever. Like for instance, the Eagles play last year. That pass to Dearness was never supposed to go there. The pre-snap read was to take that throw off the plate.
Yeah, I mean, so we're already talking about it. Basically, we can really dive into what are the vibes around the locker room, what with the change, with the scenery, with what Liam Cohen has implemented to the offense. With Gladstone being in there, with Baselli being in there, how do you seen the vibes around the locker room change? Have they kind of been stagnant? Are people more so open to what Cohen is doing and the messaging?
I think they're pretty open. Like, we haven't been in the locker room a ton yet, but younger coaching staff, and I think the guys are really excited about that. I think they do like this coaching staff right now, and they're definitely going to get the chance. I think this is going over better than some of the other coaching additions we've seen. So I think so far so good. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Campanelli has made an impact on the defensive guys yet? I know we've seen all the viral clips, what he's done in Miami, what he's done in Green Bay. This is a guy that's going to hopefully get the most out of this Jaguars defense. What do you think the impact will be for him in terms of what the locker room will see?
Yeah, I think Camp's definitely going to have an impact. The guys say that he is that guy. That is how he is. It's not just the clips. That is his life, and that is the Camp they see day to day. Campanelli's solid dude, man. It's definitely going to be fun. But I mean, I think the thing that, like, I talked to Rashawn Gary from Green Bay while he was up there or at the Pro Bowl, and I talked to Rashawn Gary where Campanelli came from. And one of the things he told me is like, yeah, Campanelli's this fiery dude who, whatever, do all the stuff in the meetings that we know. But he's also a guy that cares. He's like, the door is open and he wants you to be the best football player that you can be. And he's that guy. He's your accountability buddy. Like, if you say this is what you want to be, and you know what you got to do to get to that, he's the guy that rolls in and be like, hey, did you run today?
Yeah.
He said he's that guy who he's gonna hold you accountable. Okay, you want to be all pro? All right, you know what you got to do. You got to go put the work in. You're gonna lift extra. You're gonna do this. You're gonna eat right. All right. And he said he's that guy who's on you to make sure that you and hold you accountable for your dreams. And he said that's why the guys loved him up there in Green Bay, and he thinks that the guys in Jacksonville will like him too. So I think that's a pretty good review when you got a coach that I think they always say they don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. Same thing.
Okay. And then last topic, what do you think has been the biggest change or impact that Baselli has made in terms of shifting the culture? It's a big thing that he's talked about for the Jaguars, and shifting the culture, moving away from the same old Jaguars, moving away from the cardiac cats, really setting a new standard for who the Jaguars are, not only as an organization, but what they want to bring in terms of players and personalities.
I think Tony's biggest impact so far has been on uniting the building. Like the entire staff. Everybody that works there on the same playing field, they kind of open that door. There's not this division. They all have. He's kind of helped to have those meetings to unite everybody to say, okay, let's look at everything we do. We are the Jaguars. It's not just the 53.
Yeah.
It's everybody here is a part of the culture in this building. So let's create a culture that they want.
Mm.
While Gladstone and Liam and Tony's been a part of the football stuff for sure, but I
Yeah.
think his biggest impact has been trying to unite the building, trying to create the culture they want throughout the entire building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you had to give a final prediction on what you think the season ends up like, I know we've talked about the different scenarios with Trevor, with BTJ, with Travis Hunter. What do you have as your record prediction, especially with your projected 53-man roster? What would you say would be the final record for your 53-man roster?
Oh, you gonna put me on the spot with that one, ain't you? I'm a crazy bastard now. Look, so I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a believer in first year coach.
Hmm.
I'm a believer in it. If you look, you watch the NFL year after year, how many times you see a first year coach, Doug Peterson, first year coach, all of a sudden they look up and they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what you want to do. Nobody knows how to defend you because this is your first time off the reins, like really doing whatever. So like I and I guess I shouldn't say first year coach, but I think first year options on offense or defense because I kind of attributed to the Ravens a couple years back when they made the run to the AFC Championship game.
Hmm.
I attributed that to first year because they had a brand new offensive coordinator, brand new defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
To me, that equates to basically a first year coach because like Harbaugh's steadying the ship, but the play callers underneath him, nobody really has their tendencies down yet, right?
Hmm.
So I think that's big to me. So I'm a believer in that. I think 10 wins.
10
I think
wins.
I think 10 wins. I think they win the South, and I think they're in the postseason.
Okay.
There you
Okay.
go. That's where
Awesome.
I'm at right now. Sight unseen, way too early. Don't even see the schedule yet. They're gonna cover a whole lot of ground. Got to go to the West Coast a bunch. But I got them at 10. I think I'm a believer in the first year coach stuff, man. Dan Quinn and them boys made the run last year. Nobody knew what the hell they were gonna do.
Yeah.
Look at Miko Ryans a couple years ago. Texans make the run, go to the postseason in his first year. Yep,
Okay.
yep. But mark me down for 10. That's where I'm at. I think this will be a fun season. I think postseason
Could get interesting.
could get interested. Could get
Okay.
interested. And I think the NFL world is going to be watching Travis Hunter. So there's going to be a whole lot of attention on the Jaguars this year.
I've been pretty bold. I've been pretty accurate too because I thought that we were going to be on the lesser end last season. I didn't expect so many injuries, but I was thinking we were going to get maybe 6 wins last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the roster wasn't adequate to me. I think Balky was kind of straggling. He was trying to. The idea of saying it was the best team that we had ever assembled was a joke to me. I think this year there's so much turnover, there's so much potential. They've added blue chip players, you've added future starters and current starters, and you've raised the floor of the roster. I see no less than 9 wins. I think the ceiling to me is going to be 12. I've talked about this yesterday on my last episode, where I think they win 5 division games realistically. I think you split with Houston. I see them sweeping the Colts. I see them sweeping the Titans. I think
Mm-hmm.
they're a better team currently constructed. I think they're a better team than both of those teams. I think
Mm-hmm.
you split with Houston. They're struggling on the O line. I think you see another big Travon Walker game. Hopefully, he takes the leap that everybody's expecting. And I think the defense is going to be better than advertised. So I see them, I would say 11. That would be my high.
Okay.
So I see them winning 5 division games and winning 6 outside games.
That's not bad.
That would
Same
be,
same ballpark.
yeah. I think that would be, I think on the low end, they're teetering, they hit 9, and everybody's like, okay, they take the step. I think that would be the scenario where, Trevor is he's learning the offense. We see what he did similar to 22,
Mm-hmm.
and they hit a stride at the end of the year. I
Yeah.
don't want that to be the theme with the Jaguars. in terms of our success, like, oh, we get slow starts and then we finish strong. That was kind of the theme. We hit highs and lows. I don't really want to see that too much with the new Jaguars. I think
Hmm.
Cohen will bring some consistency, especially with how you said the timing of the offense will be
Yep.
much more evenly constructed, and this will be more of a, I guess it will be more of a breathable offense. There's more nuance to it. There's going to be a lot more easier reads, and looking at the Baker Mayfield tape from last year, the progressions are going to be there. They are going to be There's going to be a lot of red zone opportunities and a lot of deep field opportunities as well. So
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm not going to say we're going to see 44 touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence this year, but I could see him hitting 35. I could see him hitting 30 at least at minimum. So I'm expecting a big jump from Trevor Lawrence. If you're a fantasy football fan and Trevor Lawrence is there in round 9, round 10 in your fantasy draft, you slam the pick to me. So I see 9 to 11. That's my gauge right now.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. Yeah, I'm a fantasy football guy. My bigger hang up right now is am I going to pick Travis Hunter somewhere? I got a
I,
dynasty league draft coming up, and I can't make a decision.
yeah, I have a fantasy draft with Cardiac Cats in the next 2 days, and we're doing a 30 round full dynasty mock draft. I'm praying that I can get Travis Hunter or Brian Thomas Jr. Either or. If I can get them somewhere, I have the third pick. I'm not saying what I'm going to do at 3. I'm not saying what I'm going to do in the second round. But if I can get them within the first 3 rounds, we can.
Superflex?
It's a 2 QB and 2 tight end.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't take either one of them in the first 2 rounds. Then
Yeah, I'm kind
you
of
got to go
like,
quarterback. You got to go quarterback in the first round with the third pick.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
gonna have
kind of I'm leaning quarterback or running back.
you got two quarterback spots to fill, bro.
I played a lot of dynasty, and I've won. I'll admit, I dominate in dynasty in my
Okay,
my other 2 leagues.
all right,
I've won a lot of money with Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence. I'm just
fair
gonna put
enough.
that out there.
All right,
So if Jared Goff makes it later, Trevor Lawrence makes it later, I'm okay with that. But
okay,
it depends how the first 2 picks goes.
all right, fair enough.
Definitely have to get you back on here to talk some more fantasy football too, then for sure. I know that last league that we were in together, that wasn't my best showing, but that that
I
that
don't
was
even remember what my record was in that league. I think I had like 9 teams last year, so I was juggling. It was the
yeah,
first year of the dynasty, and I had 8 other teams. Yeah, I was all over the place, man.
yeah.
Uh,
I think I had 7 teams this past season, so it'll be interesting,
yeah,
especially adding another dynasty league on top of that.
yeah. Them dynasty leagues are a different beast. Different
Different
beast.
beast, different beast. But yeah, once again, thank you, Jamal. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on the channel. We got to do this some point again. Hopefully, we can do something where we get a lot of the other content creators and media guys. Maybe we'll get Tony Wiggins on here. Maybe we'll get Trav on here. I know you were just on Duval Dive recently, so we'll continue to do this. And I appreciate you coming on and joining the show. And let everybody know where they can follow you.
Yeah, you can follow me over on X or just about any other social platform. Just look for JSTCYR J St. Cyr TV, and you can track me down there. TikTok, Instagram, whatever. Yeah, I'm probably there. All right. Yeah, and Twitter. Just don't take. I don't take it too serious. So yeah, just know what you signed up. Know
He's
what
got
you
a lot
signed
of
up.
viral tweets, so I'm just
I,
saying.
I, I don't take it too seriously. I am definitely the meme of the Jaguars beat.
Yeah,
But once training camp and stuff roll around, there are no memes during training camp or those days because I will flood your timeline with absolutely as many videos or tweets as I can come up with. So again, just know what you signed up for. Just know what you
know what
signed
you
up for.
signed up for.
I need to put that PTSA out right now, or PSA. I need to put that out right now. It's about and pin it to the top. Just know what you signed up for.
And of course, you guys can follow me on all socials at Toriano Knows Ball, or on X, you can follow me at Toriano KB. Uh, of course, subscribe, like, and comment on the channel. We appreciate any support. And I hope to see you guys supporting the Jaguars this season. And, of course, following Jamal on the beat as well as supporting my content as well. Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful day.